have you ever run out of ideas for things to make, or just had an idea but it seemed too difficult so you never even tried to make it? Well, in this video we are going to have solutions for all that and more, and that's all coming up. First off, we have how to come up with good crafting ideas. And there are 4 great ways to do this. And the first is going to be to solve a problem. And there's 3 primary questions that I have for you to ask yourself right here. And the first one's going to be, what would make your life easier? What could you make right now that would help you and make your life easier? It's easy to help. A good way to do this is just look around you and try to find solutions for that. And then also, what are some common annoyances that you have? And is there something you could make to solve those problems that you're getting annoyed by? Maybe your phone's always tipping over. Maybe you should make a cardboard phone stand. Maybe you have trouble because you don't have a good place to put your books when you read them in your bed. Maybe you should make a end table for your bed. So there's lots of different things you can make, and that just comes down to solving problems. And then the last question is, what could you make that would help you with what you're doing right now? Now, right now, obviously, you're watching a video, and perhaps you can make something to help you with that. Maybe like some sort of phone holder or something for your computer. But just ask this question to yourself throughout the day when you're doing all kinds of different things, and this is going to help you find solutions to problems that you have in lots of different areas. If you're like, what could I make right now to help me do this? And there's a couple things that I can think of personally right now that would help me out. It would be nice if my computer was mounted in a little bit better way, so it was closer to the camera, or my microphone was a little bit more organized, or the cable wasn't dangling out. And these are all things I could make, and I just have to ask myself, how can I build that right now? Now, our next area is to steal ideas. Now, might seem a little bit unethical, but Picasso has a great quote that great artists copy, good artists copy, and great artists steal. So I sort of follow Picasso on this topic. But the first question here, and remember, we're just trying to come up with ideas right now. Later in the video, we're going to get into how to think of these ideas in a way that's going to get you to a really good solution and a really good idea. But first, we have to have some idea to start with. And is there some product that you could make instead of buying it? So there are a lot of people that research and develop these products that you'll buy on Amazon and stuff. And a lot of the time, they have a good purpose. But if you see that, sometimes they're actually not that hard to build yourself out of the materials that you have. So that's the first good question. And then also, is there something that you own, that I own, that you could improve? And that is kind of related to looking around you and solving problems. Is there something that like I was saying with my computer, if it could be mounted in a better way, could you make like a more advanced doorstop for your door so it could be held in a better way? So just all kinds of ideas that you can improve on things. And then, have you seen anything online that you think you could make? So I know in this video, the whole point is that we're not going to need to come up and keep looking for crafting ideas, because we want to be able to come up with those all on our own and use our own ability to think. But sometimes we see stuff online, we're scrolling through social media, or we're watching cool videos, and we're like, bam, that would be an amazing idea. And you can go off of that and try to make that. And then have you seen things that other people have that you might want to make? Maybe you're at a friend's house or something, and then you can gather ideas from these things that you see around there, and those can have cool things to make. And thing number 3, our third way to come up with great crafting ideas, is to just have some fun. So are there any things that you have always wanted to make? Sometimes it's easy to sort of forget about the things that we just want to make, and not the things that we need to make. And are there any things from a TV show or a movie or a book that you would love to make a model of? I have this right behind me is a gun from the TV show The Mandalorian, and I have some other Star Wars props. And then if you close your eyes, and picture yourself making something in whatever way you like to make stuff, what are you making? That could be a great craft idea that's just sitting right in front of you, and would be something that you can make. And then our last method for coming up with good ideas is just to ask others. And this is super important, especially when you're working on different kinds of projects. Personally, I am on a robotics team, and asking other people for ideas is critically important, because it's very easy to sort of get locked down into one idea and not see the whole spectrum of things, because we're just one person and we only have one set of experiences. So just, you can go online, you can ask your friends, ask your family, all great ways to come up with ideas. And before we move on, I want to pass the question off to you. How do you normally come up with craft ideas? We're about to get into the later in the video where we talk about how to get these ideas really good. But how do you normally come up with craft ideas? Drop that in the chat or in the comments below, and that's going to be super amazing. But if you did not know, this is actually the first video in a 5-part series where I go through how to a complete action plan that takes you through each step of making your ideas into reality. And most of the time we're going to be using cardboard, but this playlist will be linked at the top of the description, and then also you'll be able to click on it other times too. But if we're just meeting, my name is Eli Tennant, and this is the Maker Brain Show. And as always, after I'm done with the video portion, feel free to ask any questions that you have in the chat or in the comments down below. And I very much appreciate answering those. And I get offended when you don't ask questions. So, not really. Also, I have a bonus resource linked at the top of the description. This is the complete cardboard crafting action guide plan, and it's just printable. So if you go down there, click on that, you can get this printout, and it's really going to help you go through all 5 of the steps that these 5 videos are going to cover in a really brief way. So if you want to jump right into it, you can download that as well. But the key to figuring out how to make those really difficult ideas is your ability to think. All right, so you're gonna have to really put that thinking hat on. And the first thing you want to avoid is digging yourself into a hole with your ideas. So you don't want to get attached to just one possible solution for what you want to make, or one way to make it, and then not be able to think in a really creative way. A lot of the time we're really creative at the start. Boom, we think we have a great idea, and then we just roll with it, and we're like, any problems we run into, we're like, okay, we'll just solve these problems, and we just keep working through it. But if we took the time to really think a little bit more carefully about what we were making and how we can make it in a better way, then we could avoid this mental hole that we dig ourselves into when we're just coming up with the idea before we ever actually make anything or even design anything. So you want to make sure you're thinking from different angles when you're doing this. And a couple questions to ask here is, how can this be simpler? We don't want to overcomplicate things. Sometimes there's much simpler ways to make things than we would have initially thought. You could make stuff simpler by using things that are already made instead of always making everything from scratch. Perhaps you just want to use a PVC pipe instead of rolling up a piece of cardboard. Maybe there's already a milk container is the perfect shape for whatever you want, instead of making a custom shape on your own. And that's all just thinking about it from different angles. And then how can you make it with the things you already have? So if you have an idea, sometimes it's too difficult to make because we don't feel like we have the resources or any of the other things that we need to create it. So we want to think about how we can make it with the stuff we already have. And then what new things might you need to build this idea? So maybe you'll need to stop by Hobby Lobby, a hardware store, or maybe you might need to come up with some new skills to be able to make this idea, and new ways to use the tools you already have. So that's how that's the next step in figuring out how to make a really good idea. And then another thing we want to do is don't worry about the details too much. Like I said, this is avoiding a mental hole when we're coming up with ideas. We don't want to get stuck on one thing. So I was just saying we're thinking about all these different things, but don't worry about the details too much. Those will come up later. Of course, they all do play together. And then also think about these things over time. I like to make sure I have enough time to come up with a bunch of good ideas. Sometimes it takes time to let things process in your brain, even in the background. So I'll go to sleep thinking about something I want to solve, and then that really helps me process it better. And then sometimes I'm just like waiting around, and I can just lock into this mental state where I'm like playing with things in my brain, trying to come up with good ideas, rather than like scrolling on my phone, playing Clash Royale, or a video game, or texting somebody with completely unimportant stuff, sending emojis. Like, just think about your ideas. There's lots of little spaces in the day where I'd like you to take advantage of this. And then lastly, you can ask friends to help you with your ideas. You can get some collaboration going there. But I am not going to be able to make you into Albert Einstein in one video and make you able to like solve all of your problems. But that's why this is a 5-part video series, and the next step is to research your ideas. So if you're ready to take that next step, and hopefully after all of this you're going to be at least one step closer to being like Albert Einstein, then I recommend that you click or tap on the video right here on the screen, or click or tap over here to get instant access to that complete cardboard crafting action plan. As always, my name is Eli Tennant, this is Maker Brain, and I pray that God would bless you and keep you. See you in the next video.